Only 7 minutes late this time.
Well, Greg had to finish his story.
That's true.
It's true. It was a good story.
Stories are important. Stories are important. All right.
Tell me a story.
We are live.
Yeah.
The chat is
tape.
popped out.
Hopefully people can
Maybe
access it this week.
Maybe it's working. I don't know if anybody's in there.
5 are
There's a test
watching.
message.
So it's not just
that means
us.
there's at least two more than us.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not just us here
Is
anymore.
the chat working?
Sweet smell of success.
We better stop saying all those controversial things now.
Hey, look at that.
8 people are
It
here.
really grinds my gears.
Yeah. All right. Ready to go? All right. Hey, we're rolling. We're doing it.
Is this it?
Hello and welcome to episode 743 of the Player One podcast for February.
Oh boy!
Popped up on my screen and I got distracted. Let's start again.
What popped up on your screen?
You need to update this such and such software.
Oh,
Popped up on my screen and I was like,
do you need to reboot your computer and update Windows?
Pornhub needs to send some new cookies.
No, none of those things.
Is your uTorrent with all your pirated movies slowing down because you have the old version?
No.
Oh, okay.
I haven't done. I haven't.
You're up to date on all that. You're up to date on all your.
I do my pirating
software
in Sea of Thieves now. I don't pirate software.
Sorry. Wow, you didn't pay for your copy of Sea of Thieves?
Nobody paid for their copy of Sea of Thieves.
I actually did buy it. Did I?
Of course you did.
You know what?
Have I not said this? I bought it before the whole Game Pass thing, and then I got a free copy for Steam. I did get a free copy.
You know what irritates me? Okay, so let's talk about this because I was dealing with this today.
This isn't actually a show, you realize, right?
What?
CJ hasn't done the
I
actual
feel like the
intro
show
yet.
started.
I feel like it has too.
Yeah. So I've got Series X up here.
Yeah.
I've got my old Xbox One downstairs in the den.
Right.
My son had a friend over today, and they wanted to play Sea of Thieves together.
Okay.
Not possible.
So my son has a family membership.
You can't do it though. You need live.
Can't do it. That's bull. That
I know.
should not be that way.
Here's what you do. Here's the trick. You ready for the trick?
Are you going to tell me anytime soon? Or
telling you the trick? Okay. So one of those Xboxes you can signify as your home Xbox.
There's no trick to it.
It's just a simple trick. You can signify one of those Xboxes as your home machine. Okay.
No.
So that one has your Xbox Live Gold account on it. Any account on that machine can then play online games using your Live Gold. But then the other player who, and this might not work because it's using your account. Your son's using your account, right?
Yes.
Okay. And not his own account is what I'm asking. If he's using your account, you go to the Xbox that is not your home Xbox. You play on there, and then they can play together. Yes.
Both using the same account.
No.
So if it's my
you can
account
have a guest
on
account on your home Xbox. Use Xbox Live. Yeah.
Look! I just found my gold Zelda Game Boy camera. Huh?
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
Found it.
Just found it. I was putting something in a drawer right here, and here it was. So
imagine that. Anyway, you can do it. You can do it.
CJ was talking about Sea of Thieves, so I decided to straighten up my room a bit.
Well,
whoever doesn't,
I mean, technically we're talking about Sea of Thieves, but this is a thing. This is because
whoever doesn't have Xbox Live Gold has to be on your home designated Xbox.
Okay,
and then you're fine.
Okay, cool. All right,
then
I'll try that next time.
Otherwise, no.
But it was a very frustrating few minutes to sort that out. And for some reason too, when I replaced the batteries in my my
Game Boy Player startup disc, I found that too. Look at that.
Replaced the battery.
We're not talking about Sea of Thieves, Phil.
In my Xbox Series S controller or Series X controller, it did not want to resync with my Xbox. I had to unplug the Xbox to get it to work.
That's weird.
Lame. I'll stick with my PlayStation 5. I wish it wasn't
just press the sync button, or you can.
I did.
use the USB cable.
I tried that too.
Oh, weird.
Didn't want to work.
Hello and welcome to episode 743 of the Player One podcast for Tuesday, February 2nd, 2021. I am your host, Chris Johnston, and with me as always from Canada, Mr. Greg Seward.
Hello.
How's it going, sir?
Pretty good. I got the new mats for underneath my replicades.
Aha!
You
got your little arcade
They're
mouse
awfully
pads.
Yep, they're awfully pretty.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Just excited about that.
Yeah. That's all you got?
That's all I got.
Okay. And joining me from the great state of Washington, Mr. Phil Theobald.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going quite well. I recently got, speaking of 1/6 scale miniatures, I recently got my first and probably only 1/6 scale dolls that pose quite nicely with those Replicate arcade units. So I'm pretty pleased.
I need more information than that.
Did you not? Did you? I posted them on Twitter like a while ago. My Bill and Ted toys.
Oh, the Bill and Ted.
The Bill and Ted toys.
Bill and Ted dolls.
right.
Yeah,
That was
they're-
like forever ago. That was 2 days ago.
those
ancient history.
are 1/6 scale. Those are a foot tall.
They fit perfectly.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
mean, they're the same scale.
It's perfect.
When you have various items that are of the same scale, they
I don't
they
care
go
how much they
together
weigh.
well because they are scaled to go with each other because scales are consistent because of math.
No, but we use metric up here, so the scales are a little different.
Oh, jeez.
Right.
I don't know. What is a 1/6 scale then?
1/10.
Because they're like what, 2 meters?
Metric works in 10.
Are they 2 meters? A meter's about 3 feet, right?
Yeah. Just
Am I right
about.
with that?
It's a little bit
Okay.
longer than 3 feet, I think.
Yeah, quit bragging. But I can't help what I am. So there we go.
Speaking of
2.2
things,
kilometers to a mile.
Speaking of
I
things
would-
that we purchased,
I have no idea how many feet are to a mile. There's a certain number of
Jesus.
feet to a mile, but it's some random
Stupid number,
ass-
yeah.
Let's see.
like
How
2,645.
My dad used to be able to rattle off all these distances.
how many feet, CJ?
I said
You
2,645.
are about halfway there. It's 5,280 feet in a
I
mile.
really thought
of
CJ
course.
was saying with such authority that I thought he was right.
5,280 feet to a mile. That's just logic. I mean-
Sure.
I think I've said this before though, because my dad and I he used to grumble about us shifting over to the metric system because
Yeah.
it happened obviously in his lifetime,
Right.
and he was bitching about the metric system one day, and I was like, "But how could it be?" He said it was too complicated. He's like, "It couldn't be any easier, really."
Right.
I mean, you're working in tens. It's simple, 10 of this is this,
Yeah.
and 10, 10, 10, 10.
yeah.
And he started rattling off like, but there's X inches to a foot, and X feet to a yard, and X
Yeah.
yards to
12,
a
3.
mile, and
I
he
don't
says,
know that.
what could be simpler? And then he rattled off like how many feet are in a mile, and like, what do you mean how could that be more complicated? Like,
5,280. That's
Yeah.
It's easy. Come on.
yeah,
All you have to do is have that committed to your memory for 60 years and easy as pie.
Yeah. 3.14. Speaking of things that we purchased recently, I got a Blu-ray 4K UHD of Castle of Cagliostro, Lupin the
I gotta
Third.
see that movie. I've never seen that.
I can't believe you haven't seen that. It's a great
No.
movie.
I know. I've always heard such wonderful things about it, and I've never seen it.
Hayao Miyazaki's theatrical debut.
Fantastic
Was it really?
movie.
I didn't know that.
Yes, that was his first movie. It's pre-Ghibli,
Okay.
pre-Studio
Cool.
Ghibli. He'd been working in like TV and stuff.
Right.
He'd worked on like the Lupin TV series,
Sherlock Hound,
Sherlock Hound.
which is
Panda-
great too if you can find it.
Oh yeah. Panda Go Panda, which is
Mhm.
kind of proto Totoro.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah.
Castle of Cagliostro, one of my favorite movies
It's a great movie.
ever.
It's a great movie.
And remember back in like the early 90s on the UHF channel, they would have like an hour of anime on Saturday night.
I do not remember that.
Okay, well, they had Lupin the Third, Castle of Cagliostro on one
Yeah.
of those nights, and I was just like, "Oh, this movie's so good."
Was it some like weird ass edit? Was it the
Yes,
one where he
of
was
course.
called like Wolf or something?
I mean, yeah, they call him Wolf in the streamline.
Was it one of those weird
Pictures
Canadian
dub.
edits?
They call him Wolf,
Yeah,
and loved it. Bought it on VHS.
yeah.
Wore the tape out.
Mm.
Those were good
Bought it
times. I
on-
did that a few times.
Like Laserdisc, bought the import Laserdisc that just so happened to have the
Laserdisc,
streamlined
wow.
English dub on there as well.
Did you not
As
know?
like a,
Did you
what?
not know it had the dub on it?
I bought it from, what was the place? There was a place in SoCal that sold import Japanese anime Laserdiscs. And I bought a bunch
Oh.
of things from them. One of the things I bought,
Yeah.
they had a website where they showed you like the front and back of the packaging. And I like saw possibly there was an English language track
Was
on there, but I
this-
basically bought it sight on like
This-
unknowing if there was going to be English at all.
This place you're referring to, CJ, did they also have a physical store?
They did, yes.
And we
in like a
went there?
university. No, we didn't go there.
No, okay.
No, that was Ken Crane's Laserdisc.
Was that
We
Ken
went-
Crane's?
We
Okay,
went to Ken Crane's.
I
okay.
used to
That's
love going
different.
to Laserdisc shops just to see
Oh,
all that
yeah.
stuff I could never afford.
Yeah.
Oh, it was amazing.
There was one near the office in Oakbrook
Yes, there
That's right.
was.
that we
QED
went
laser.
that I went to. a couple
What was it
times.
called?
QED Laser.
Yes, QED laser.
QED
That's right.
laser. Yes.
Yep.
They had Laserdiscs and DVDs and all sorts of great stuff. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, I bought this thing without knowing if it had English language. And on Laserdiscs, you could change to another vocal track.
Yeah.
And it had a mono version of the English dub on there that was labeled "Learn English."
Oh,
with this.
there you go.
That's awesome.
I'm watching the
man.
dub, and I wore that sucker out too, and then bought it on DVD. And then
No,
bought
the
it on
point of
Blu-ray.
Laserdisc is you couldn't wear it out, CJ.
Yeah.
Laser
Well, I
rot.
mean, there's
it's called
the-
laser
there's-
rot.
So that's
Yeah.
that's not due to wear.
Oh, that's true.
That's,
Fine.
CJ, here's a little
poor gluing in the factory.
come on,
What?
man.
here's a
That's
little
exactly
here's a little flashback for you. I just found a forum post
Oh no! Oh no!
from July 4th, 2010
Uh-huh.
on forum.dvdtalk.com.
Hmm.
Ken Crane's bites the dust.
I know.
Apparently, that's around the time when they shut their doors back in 2010.
Yeah.
All the
That place
people-
was great though. I
It
ordered
was.
I ordered a ton of laser discs from them because they had the cheapest prices.
but because where was Ken
Laserdiscs weren't
Crane's?
cheap.
They were not cheap. No.
No.
Where was their physical store?
It was in Southern California.
Okay,
Orange
but
County.
we absolutely went there, right?
We
That's
went
not a-
there. Yes.
Okay, that's
We
not
went
a
to one
false
of their
memory.
locations. They had like 3 locations.
Oh, did they? Okay.
And we went to one of them
Okay. Yeah.
in
yeah,
Anaheim or near Anaheim.
Yeah, it was. We were probably at like anime convention or something.
We were at Anime Expo
That's where we were.
2003.
That's the one. That sounds about right.
Yeah. That was where I ran over a block of wood and then had to like,
I don't remember
it was
that
like
part.
scraping against my tire the entire way back.
Wait, did
to,
you
San
drive to
Francisco.
Southern California?
We
from
did.
San
Drove-
Francisco.
Yeah, we were in
Okay.
San Francisco. at
Oh
the
yeah,
time.
right. 2003.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We drove there from San Francisco,
Yeah.
went to the Anime Expo, went to
Yep.
Ken Crane's, and then we, of course, went to San Dimas,
Yes.
California.
Yes,
Oh,
that was on the way.
Jesus.
Was that on the way home? We stopped over at San
Was
Dimas.
on the way home. We stopped
Yeah.
in San Dimas.
Yep.
Not as exciting as Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure would have you believe. We
Shocking.
Because
did
the high-
stop at the high school.
Yeah. Because the high school from the movie is in Phoenix.
It's in Arizona, yeah.
It's somewhere in Arizona. Yeah. So yeah, the actual San Dimas High School is not.
You guys are describing how I felt when I went to wherever it was that Wayne's World was supposed to take place when I first moved
It's
to
Aurora.
Chicago.
Aurora, Illinois.
It's like, oh yeah, that's where Wayne's World takes place.
Yeah.
Like, yep, this is Aurora.
The Fox Valley Mall where CJ
Yep.
and I worked at was in Aurora.
That's
Not
right.
nearly as
No
exciting
Stan
as you would
Makita
think it was.
donuts.
No Stan Makita
None
donuts.
of that.
Well, what was
No.
when we were in San Dimas?
Mm-hmm.
We went to some store because I think we were looking for like San Dimas shirts or something.
Yeah, we were looking
Of
for
course you were.
like what San Dimas merchandise can we
Yeah.
get in this
Yeah.
town? Like
We were
what is
like,
there-
where there has
Where
to be
the
like a
tourist-
sporting goods store here. that sells like gym uniforms for the high school, and we were like, where would that
let's
be?
get those.
But of course, there were no smartphones at that point, so there was no easy way to find that out. But we asked someone where the mall was, and it turned out like San Dimas didn't have a mall.
There was no mall in San Dimas. We were like, what? You're crushing our dreams here. You're crushing them.
I was gonna go to the piano store and start playing some classical music and get kicked out for some reason.
Well, this was also before like IMDb. I don't even think we knew that it wasn't shot in San Dimas.
Yeah, I mean, we're dumb guys, but
we're
dumb.
Not
that dumb to think that every movie
shot in the actual
is filmed
city.
on location. I mean, Rumble in the Bronx clearly is not filmed in New York City.
That's true.
With its vast
but
mountain
it's called
ranges.
Rumble in the Bronx.
But it's shot in Vancouver. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, it was
disappointing.
A rude awakening, to be
there
sure.
Was no water. There was a water park.
There was a water park. Yes, it wasn't called
Waterloo.
Yeah, it wasn't Waterloo, but they did indeed have a water park. I think we did find. We just were driving around. We found like some mom and pop video game store, and I bought some
Back
like
when that could happen.
Maybe, yeah.
I bought like a bootleg Pokemon game.
I also think I have a picture. San Dimas, the little strip mall that we were in was called San Dimas Station, and you thought that was hilarious.
Oh, why wouldn't it be?
So I took a photo of it.
Station. That's the Bill and Ted thing. Come on. They say that in the movie. There's a character.
Yeah, I almost missed the exit to San Dimas and like ran over a block of wood, and then my tire was messed up the entire way back. I had to like tie it with twine. I had to tie like the front wheel well up so that it wouldn't scrape against the tire.
Oh, I do remember that now, actually. Yeah. You kind of had to jury rig.
Yeah.
To keep your car from falling apart on the way home.
Then we wouldn't be able to get back to
San
Francisco. But yeah, that was a fun time.
Yeah, we drove by that cattle farm on Route 5 there.
Yeah.
Remember that? Where it smelled like cow farts for like 2 miles.
Yeah.
There's some part you're driving
along.
You
were trying to blame it on that, but you passed gas in the car.
What can I say? We stopped over at the San Dimas Taco Bell.
Run for the border.
You're driving down Highway 5 in California, and it's all farmland, but you start seeing off in the distance. It looks like friggin' Mordor. Just the skies are black, and it could be the sunniest day, but suddenly there's this vile stank on the horizon.
That's Elon Musk's house.
Well, that's putting the Musk in Elon Musk. It's a rich, earthy Musk. It lingers.
It lingers.
Yeah.
Ugh. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't put any news down really on the outline, except to say, hey, GameStop's still in the news for that whole stock shorting thing.
I know.
Thank God we're fixing everything so the billionaires will stop losing money.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeesh. I finally found some Twitter post where someone explained, because I know nothing about the stock market.
Right.
Same here.
Nothing at all. I finally found someone who explained it in a way that I understood.
And did it make you more or less upset?
In what sense?
The reaction to it and the fact that they moved to stop people buying.
Oh, well, no, I mean, that's a joke, obviously. That is rich people protecting rich people and not wanting the poors to get their money by doing exactly the same thing that the rich people do. So no, I mean that did not change my opinion of it at all.
But now you know.
But now at least I understood what was happening. Yes.
Can you explain it on this podcast?
I mean,
I read the explanation and was like,
well, do you know what?
I kind of understand.
Do you know what shorting a stock? Did you ever watch The Big Short?
No.
You should watch that movie. It's a good movie.
That's what they call me these days.
So shorting a stock. When you want to short a stock, what you do is you're basically borrowing a stock from a person who already owns it.
Yeah.
you were then able to sell that. And the idea with shorting is you're selling it because you're assuming that the price is going to go down. So like, say if the stock's worth $10, you sell it at 10 and then you buy it back at 7, right? You let the stock go down. And once it goes down to 7, you buy it back and then you give it back to the person that you borrowed it from. And you've made a $3 profit on that stock. If that was that change was. So that's what shorting a stock is my understanding. So basically you take a ton of risk because you're selling it on the assumption that the price is going to go down. If the price goes up, then you've lost a bunch of money because you do this in large numbers, right? So what was happening is some people had figured out that there were hedge funds that were massively shorting GameStop stock, which also helps to kill the business. And so that's kind of
what happened to Toys R Us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So what they did is these people started a buying frenzy on GameStop stock, which of course the way the stock market works is it raises the value of the stock because all of a sudden everyone's buying it. So now these people who are trying to short the stock suddenly they can't buy back at less. They would actually have to buy back at a massively higher amount and lose a ton of money. That was all that was happening.
Millions / billions of dollars.
Non terrible hedge fund people decided to spend a ton of money on GameStop to buy GameStop stock, which drove the price way up. And then it's a feedback loop because then to cover the short, they need to get out as fast as they can. So they need to buy up stock, which drives the price up even further. And it just, that's at the basic level is my understanding of what was happening.
There you go.
Yeah. So a bunch of hedge fund investors who were trying to run the stock into the ground ended up getting screwed.
Yeah, and this story is less about GameStop's viability as a business or well,
of course not. No.
As a story about the stock market.
Yeah.
It could have been anybody, and actually, apparently,
this kind of points out what a big joke the stock market is.
There are other stocks that people started doing this with
BlackBerry
as well,
one
like AMC theaters.
Yeah, and AMC.
Yeah. And again, it's just playing it, and it's not going to have any real impact on whether GameStop sticks around or it goes away eventually.
No. This is,
Yep. But I did like the Photoshop I was seeing now with going around now with the GameStop with a bunch of Ferraris and McLarens and everything parked out in front.
What is Eris driving these days? That's what I want.
I traded in my Lamborghini for a couple of Teslas.
It's like I saw a lot of GameStop jokes. I did not see any Eris jokes.
Well, no, the only people who remember Eris are us.
Because that from 14 years ago.
Yeah, the Eris thing was a decade and a half.
People are listening what Eris thing? Show. It's because when GameStop used to call you to tell you that your game was in, they had a voice Eris or Aerith or whatever who would call you.
Fantasy VII.
It was Eris.
It was just a computerized Siri voice, and told you to come pick up your copy of.
Was it computer generated? I thought it was an actual person that they had.
It was a recording though.
It was a recording.
Yeah, it was a recording.
You're right.
There was an actual voice actor.
It was basically telling you that you need to trade things.
You need to, or it would call you after. The week or two after a game came out and said, "Are you done with this? Come trade it in."
Yeah.
If you finish playing your copy of Fantavision, bring it in, and you can put your money towards a brand new copy of Unreal Tournament for PS2.
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
thank you.
A long time ago, though.
Yeah, back when.
That was one of the first bits that we were doing on the show.
Well, when Reddit was just a baby website.
Yeah.
Back when people would call you on a telephone.
Exactly. Right? There is that, and not just
now the only calls I get on my telephone are from the Windows company.
Really, I get a lot of calls,
robocalls.
I get a lot of calls from the Social Security department.
Oh, really?
Wants to talk to me about criminal activity with my Social Security number.
Oh yeah,
I get the ones the IRS is going to sue me.
Really? CRA is what it is up here. This is our version of the IRS.
Yeah.
Those are fun robocalls.
Boy.
Yeah. And now I just have my phone send everything that's not a number in my contact list to voicemail. So
of course,
I never hear anything.
The I was chatting with Dana the other day, my wife, my wonderful wife.
You should talk to her once in a while.
Yeah, you probably should.
I
She
was.
puts up
Well,
with a lot.
Hey, remember me? I'm here. And she's like, oh, I know.
I know.
I
How
know.
could I forget?
Oh god.
Yeah. No,
You tried to blame the cows, but that doesn't work here.
Well, it's a lot of stank.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got talking about the old Babbage's days.
Methane Phil.
Speaking of pre-orders and such.
Yeah.
And for as much as that kind of business has grown so much over the years, it blows my mind that back in the day, back when I was working there taking pre-orders for games, like that stuff wasn't even really in the computer.
No, it wasn't.
Like,
It was
we
on
had
like
a-
sheets of paper.
I heard
We-
about that.
We had a small plastic box, like a little box that just holds index cards.
Mhm.
And people would come into the store and say, yeah, I want to pre-order Final Fantasy VII. And we would pull out they were pre-made slips of paper that corporate sent us. They were like the pre-order forms. And you would hand them to the person and they would write in like their name and address and phone number.
Yeah.
And they would pay me $5 and I'd print out a receipt. And I would take their little pre-order slip. I would tear off part of it and hand it to them with part of the receipt stapled to it. And I would just say, don't lose this. I know the game comes out in 5 months, but don't lose
Don't
this
lose
slip
this
of paper.
sheet. I remember
You're going to
those
need
days.
this slip of paper in 5 months. And I would staple the rest of receipt to the pre-order form. And I would just put it in the little index file.
Yeah.
And the index file would just sit on a shelf under our counter. That was it.
That was the end of that.
That was how secure it was. And then just
Yeah.
It was the whole losing
Well-
the slip of paper thing that was filled me with so much anxiety because like today I would never I would never have that piece of paper.
well, of course, and nobody
No,
did
no.
then.
No.
I mean, and I mean, in all honesty, it all it did, if they didn't have the piece of paper, it added 45 seconds to the transaction while we looked up an old record or something like that.
Yeah. You remember working at Babbage's? This was before pre-orders were a thing, and we had the call list. So
Mhm.
we had this big binder, and anytime like an anticipated game would come out, we would make a new sheet like this.
Yeah.
Okay, this is now going to be the list for Gex 64. So
We're gonna need a
put
few
Phil's
pages
name at the top.
of course. Well, that was one of the benefits of working there, is your name got to be at the very top.
Your name got to be at the top, and you, as games would come out, you would call people then and tell
Yeah.
them that such and such game is out.
Like
or
someone's-
coming out today.
Someone's job was like, here's the list with 60 names and phone numbers.
Yeah,
Go sit in the back room and call them.
and
Call
see if
every one of
anybody
those names.
wants to hold a copy. And
Yeah.
even without putting any money down, we would hold it
Yeah.
until close or whatever.
Oh
Usually,
yeah. But yeah, that was the.
But then you'd get the days where it's like, all right, now it's Mortal Monday, and we got to call.
yeah.
like,
There's 300 people.
132
Mortal
people.
Yeah.
Monday.
Yep. Call
luck with that.
everybody. Let everybody know Mortal Kombat's out.
And there was no recorded message. There just
Nope.
it's like, hey, is Jeremy there?
Yeah, it's just Phil
Mortal
from Babbage's.
Mortal Kombat's
It's
out
Mortal
today.
Monday, dude. Come on, you coming in? You coming in? Should I put a copy aside for you?
See Mortal Monday around here, they just started selling them the Friday before. The second those games were in the store, everybody was
Oh,
selling them.
really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Mortal Monday was a huge
would-
bust around here.
There would be times where, like Mortal Monday, I think was one of these where it's like, well, Electric Avenue is selling them down the street, or like Funko Land got
Electric Avenue.
got our
How many-
Toys R Us sold me a
how many-
copy.
How many times are we
Like,
going to bring up Montgomery Wards on this show? How many weeks in a row can we get Monkey Wards in here?
I think that was 2 weeks ago, Phil.
Was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah,
Well,
probably.
still,
Just
that's
gonna
probably
guess.
more. That's probably more Montgomery Ward's mentions than your average video game podcast.
That is a definite. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into what you've been playing, because we got some interesting games here in this list. We're gonna
We got
start
some stuff.
with Greg here. I think there's one of these games that all of us have played, and then a demo for something that
And I can't ever remember the proper name. Is it Galen's Underground?
Wonder
What?
World.
Wonder World. That's it.
Balan
it's
Wonder
Bill, I
World.
got that totally wrong. See,
You got that
Baller
completely
Balan's
wrong.
Wonder World.
Baller Wonder World.
Baller Wonder
Ball.
World.
Yeah. Which I actually haven't played.
So
you
I'll
haven't played
point
it.
that.
Okay.
first of all,
yes.
I think this points out just how forgettable a name this is. Like we can't between Balan Wonder World, Wonderland, or something completely different, like
Yeah.
what you said.
Wonderwall.
Yeah.
Like
Can I? So really,
Wonderwall.
the only impression that this demo left on me
Yeah.
was the opening scene looks like it's a redux of Knights.
absolutely.
Big
So
time.
I saw. Have we talked about this game on the show before?
I think we may have mentioned it very briefly during because I think it was at a Switch showcase or
Okay.
Xbox
So it's
showcase.
I mean it's Yushinaka no to Oshima. So
Yeah.
those are like two of the three original Sonic team
Right.
people. And of course Oshima's his style is very specific.
Right.
and
I
very
normally really like
late
it.
90s Sega.
Very much, yeah. So I mean, like, you've got the whole opening scene it looks like this sort of mirrored / dream fantasy world where
Yeah.
there's one boy and one girl and they're the playable characters.
It's a Saturn ass looking game.
Really is. And then
Wait until we get to the gameplay.
the main character, he looks like he's right out of Knight's universe. He looks kind of like, was it Rayala?
Rila? I thought was it Rila?
I don't know how you say that name, but
I don't know.
either
The
way, like
evil knights.
yeah, except he's got a top hat down under his eyes, and his eyes are, he has eye holes in the top hat. And yeah, so that's the biggest impression the demo left on me. The gameplay itself is sort of this very clunky,
Yeah, it is.
dated feeling.
Is it not good?
3D action. No.
Okay.
Well, the thing about it is like this
Plotting.
it's very plotting and very bad, but it's honestly as if Yuji Naka and that team just completely ignored the last 20 years of 3D platforming gameplay
yeah.
and made a 3D platformer. It's like
It's like when Phantasy Star that Phantasy Star Online version came out on the Xbox, and they decided they didn't want to have voice chat because they didn't need it or something like that.
well, they did have voice chat in that, but Yuji Naka was against it because
He
it
was
broke the
against it.
immersion.
But that's what I was reminded of, where it's just like, yeah, CJ just put it exactly right. It's like the last 20 years didn't happen in 3D.
Didn't
adventure
even
gaming
happen.
because
But the
it just
gameplay-
feels so clunky.
So
Is
the
it
thing
really?
you notice first off is just the running animation is very
The running animation
Thousands.
is so Sonic
Where
Team.
your feet are moving faster than you're moving across the ground. So
Yeah.
it seems like it's ice a little bit, like the animation is moving a
Yeah.
little too fast. But then just the level design in general, it's based on these transformations that you can
You get new
flip between.
suits.
You get new
that
suits,
give you different
yeah.
abilities.
They give you different abilities, but only some of them jump.
Yes.
Not all of them jump, and not all of them are able to attack.
So like when
at
you're
all.
when you're not wearing a suit, you can jump, but you can't attack. And then the first suit you get is like a wolf suit, and
Yeah.
it kind of goes
You
like
can attack.
Tasmanian devil, but only when you jump. So when you jump, the suit spins, and that's your attack.
Right.
And then you get another suit that looks like a rabbit
Yes, it's a rabbit.
that can jump, and it has a bit of a floating jump, right? Like if you
Yeah.
hold the jump button,
It's like
it'll
a
flail its
Yoshi.
feet, and it looks like Yoshi
type thing.
jumping. But you can't attack while you're using that suit. So the whole idea
No.
is that you're swapping suits the whole time.
Okay.
It
Using the
really-
shoulder buttons.
Reminded me of Billy Hatcher. Billy Hatcher is a game that I love the character. I loved the like graphic designs, great. Like the music was great, and the same is true with Balan Wonderworld. But the gameplay is just absolutely
You mean Galen's Underground?
stuck. Galen's Underground is stuck in the past in such a way that it doesn't even feel nostalgic. It's like the bad past. It's like the
Yeah.
bad part of the past.
Yeah. And like you're walking around and there's not a whole lot happening
Oh yeah.
for long
No.
stretches.
Hmm.
Except there are
animals
there are-
everywhere, but they disappear when you get close to them.
animals dancing
Yeah.
everywhere and they disappear. It's like, why? I'm playing this on the Xbox Series X. It's not like the render distance. It's not like you can't render those.
Yeah, it's more. I think it has more to do with that way you don't have to interact with them in any way.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
the story explains that. The only thing that I found interesting
Yeah.
was that the at first, when you're in the first level that's there, you almost think they're doing a bit of like an Animal Crossing sort of where everything feels like it's on a cylinder. So when you move forward, like the horizon rolls up, but that's not what's happening. It's actually, it almost looks like it's building the world in front of you, kind of like you would expect like a 3D rendering of what happened on old consoles where like strips of the world are coming into view.
Right.
They're rising up into view in front of you. And when you walk away, they drop away in strips. But then in the second world that you're in, it's almost like you're in this concave, like you're at the bottom of the inside of like a ball and the world is sort of rotating underneath you. So that was interesting. I don't know if it does anything.
But the theme of that second world was farmer, right? And so you're in this farmland or whatever, and then you hop into a mini game. It's like suddenly you're a soccer player, and you're shooting a soccer goalie. It's like
bizarre.
What? Why?
It's bizarre. It's not good bizarre. It's just
not good bizarre. It's
I'm
bad bizarre.
Very
That's
underwhelmed
weird.
by the whole thing.
And there's some trailer where Yuji Naka said that this was his last shot at making like a big 3D platformer, and I'm just like, oh god, like you definitely missed the mark in a big way.
Wow. Okay.
Or I mean, like I said, there's a remote chance this is just a terrible demo, but it doesn't feel that
I don't
way.
think so.
The mechanics don't feel good.
Yeah.
This comes out in March. This is not just a terrible demo. This is going to be a bad.
Yeah.
See, it's because
video game.
Because I did not remember us ever talking about it. I looked on our outline and saw that you had both played this game, and I was like, what the hell is this Balin's Wonder Bread that I've never heard of? And I look it up, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's a demo. So I go download it, and I didn't have time to play it before the show, other than for like a minute. You know, I got the wolf suit, and then I was like, well, I better turn this off for now. But
you've experienced everything you need to.
Really? See, because then I wanted to like,
yes.
Because I was like, well, I want to check out a trailer or something for this. And I go to YouTube and I type in well, first I look up the game's name, and then I typed it into YouTube.
I totally, all joking aside, I did have to do that because
so did I.
When I first heard that the demo existed, I was like, oh, I should download that. And then I went to the PlayStation Store.
Yeah.
And the interface on the PlayStation 5, somehow they made the store worse.
Oh, it's terrible. Oh my goodness.
God, it's impossible.
It is awful.
And so I'm like, well, I'll use search. And I went into search like, I don't remember the name of this game.
Well,
and then I went to Google and it's like, I don't remember enough to find the name of this game. I had to go back to the YouTube video I'd seen that mentioned it.
I had the same, like, seriously, I'm in my bedroom here at my computer, and I saw the name of the game on the outline. From the time it took for me to walk from my bedroom to the living room where the PS5 was, I was like, crap, what the hell was the name of that game? And I know Wonder's in there. Is it Wonderland, Wonder World? And so I just typed in Wonder, and it popped up. So
Google knows what you were thinking 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So
But no, this is the PS5. I go into the PS5 store and just typed in Wonder, and it popped up. But yeah, so I was like, I wanted to see a trailer, so I type in the game name in YouTube, and like the first 5 videos that pop up, and Finn's standing here watching because he wants to see the trailer.
Here comes the negative algorithm.
The first 5 videos are like, Wonderland sucks. It's the worst. Oh, they need to delay this game for 6 months to fix it. And
I have something to say about that later, but
about the negative algorithms, or
no?
Oh, okay.
I guess I'll just say it now.
Yeah, say it now.
I don't think you can make this game good with a 6-month delay. It's fundamentally,
is it that bad?
Game,
huh?
And the stage designs, the way that it's laid out, it is late 90s, 2000 era 3D platforming, and it's just bad.
Well, see, that's what I was wondering about. Because I finally get down enough videos where there's an actual trailer. So I watched the trailer, and it's a nice trailer.
It's very nice.
I like
it's
the
got
art
nice
style.
music.
I've always liked that.
I like the art style.
Absolutely.
I said, it looks like a Saturn game.
Yes,
but with pretty graphics.
Very much
and I'm
does.
just like, this looks like, and it says, oh, there's like 80 different outfits. I'm like, this could be fun.
But then you played the demo and you realized probably where they spent all the budget was motion capturing people dancing and making 3D CGI graphics of the farmer for like no reason. There's like 5 cinematics with the farmer, and it's like, why?
And I'm trying
Why have you done this?
I'm trying to explain to Finn the concept of the algorithm and how it, negative videos get lots of views. So I was like, I don't know, maybe this game might not actually be bad. They might just be pushing those negative videos because that's what people want to watch. And I was like, well,
I mean, that is true.
I'll talk to CJ and Greg and see what they think, but it actually is bad, apparently. Okay.
It's boring.
It's a bad demo.
It's just boring.
It's a bad, boring demo.
I mean, you've played Super Mario Odyssey.
I have.
4 years ago.
I have.
This feels about 10 years older than that.
Oh, wow.
It feels
at least
it feels worse than the PS2 platformers that Sony put out. Like, it's not
real
good.
shame.
It's too bad.
Such a shame. And I feel bad for Yuji Naka and Oshima because those are talented designers,
right?
And I have liked their games in the past, and this is just, I don't even know what this is.
It really struck me after I played it. I was sitting there thinking, because I know this is a conversation that we had probably 12 or 13 years ago on this show when we used to talk about demos and how, because they were very, very common, especially early on in like the Xbox 360 cycle.
Yeah.
And then they started becoming a lot less common. And I vividly remember us having a conversation about that where I was complaining that, it's killing me that I don't have all these demos to try anymore. Why don't they do that? And CJ, I think it was you that made the point. It's like, well, that's because a bad demo destroys sales.
Yes.
Way more than a good demo creates sales.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's all I could think of after I'd played this was like, well, not that I was going to go out and buy this anyway. But I mean, I was leaning towards, if this is decent, I'll probably get it because it is Oshima and it is Yuji Naka and I'm a fan.
Yeah.
But now it's like, I absolutely, there's no way in hell I would buy this even on discount. Like it just isn't fun.
It would have to be under $5 for me to consider.
Wow.
Yeah.
That bad, huh?
It's
just mediocre. It's
it's a shame. It's a big,
it's too bad. Because I mean,
I can see how on paper it sounds like a fantastic idea. It's like Naka and Oshima are back and they're doing it on old school 3D platformer. This is going to be great. It's like ukulele, but on the Japanese side.
Right.
Like, this is fantastic. And then you play the result and you're like, I guess this is a 90s 2000 era 3D platformer, but no. This is not evoking feelings of nostalgia. Instead,
Naoto Oshima, he's such a nice guy too.
That's true.
He's really nice he's a genuinely nice guy.
Were you on that Japan trip where we met with him?
That's what I was just going to bring up. Because we told that story.
It was a weird meeting.
It was so weird. Have we told that story on the show?
I don't think so.
So this was, when was this? This actually was like early 2000s, right?
Early 2000s. It was after Blinks, but it was before Blinks 2.
Yes. Yeah, after
Blinks.
In that sweet spot.
That sweet spot.
Post Blinks, pre-Blinks 2.
Post Blinks. Pre-Blinks 2.
So take yourself back to that glorious time when the world was still
slopes of
high on the fumes of Blinks the Time Sweeper, but before Blinks 2 Masters of Time and Space was released, when the world was craving more Blinks.
This is such a weird meeting, by the way, that it's going to sound like we made this up.
It is, but it is and I know we like to have I know we like to have a laugh on the show, but this is 100% true. This took place in Japan. CJ and
Tokyo Game Show.
CJ and I were in Japan for Tokyo Game Show, and several other Western video game press people were there as well.
Yeah.
And we were invited to someone's house. Whose house was it? Do you remember?
Yes, it was Hayao Nakayama.
Okay, now who is that?
Greg
Nakayama.
Hayao
Sega.
Yeah. So he was the head of Sega.
He was the head at the
time.
Pretty big wig.
Yeah.
At the
we
time,
we were at his house,
Nice.
which was
it was
Who's
yeah.
it was
I'm
a big
looking this up.
house. It was a big
It would be.
house. This house was so nice that I felt uncomfortable being in it. I was like, someone like me does not deserve to be in a house like this. This like
somebody
Japanese
made a mistake
mansion.
somewhere? I shouldn't be here.
This Japanese mansion, and and it was me, it was CJ, and like, I mean, there was probably a dozen of us, Western, and we were all like Ziff Davis people, right?
It was all Ziff Davis people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was Nakayama's house. We had no idea what we were going into.
Easy.
No,
by the
no,
way.
they told us they want to meet with some Western game press people
Yeah.
to discuss video games. To discuss and I
Yeah.
like it was I believe we knew that they wanted to talk about what they could do
To appeal to a Western audience.
Yes, they wanted to
That was the
better
whole thing.
appeal.
I mean, yeah,
Which,
because
by the way,
was,
I'm worried that our advice led to Blinks 2, and I feel bad for that.
oh, that's amazing. I mean, this would have been when Sega was making their full-on transition as a third-party developer, right?
Right. Well,
Third-party
these
publisher.
people were not Sega anymore. Nakayama at the time was
Right.
at AQ Interactive, which was like a marvelous entertainment. So this
Well,
was,
there was like
he was gone.
Artoon was
Yeah, our tune was Blinks, right?
yeah.
Artoon
yeah.
was
Blinks.
Blinks.
So yeah, we go in. They drive us to the house, and it's just like in
Bernie
some.
Stoller with us in the car
Was
too.
Bernie
Jesus.
Stoller with us? Why don't I remember
Wait, you
driving
guys
with
are-
Bernie Stoller?
This is weird. This is the weirdest like fever dream.
Well, that's the thing, and
You guys are just
this
making this up.
this is why I'm
No,
glad you're here,
no.
CJ,
And then
because
Pepsi Man showed up, and
because it was so bizarre
So bizarre. Such a fever dream.
that
like
that
weird.
that I only remember the big details, but so they
It was
and it's-
dinner at
yeah, and-
Nakayama's house.
Well, and did we have dinner? We ate there.
We ate there. Yeah.
Oh, I see. I don't remember that part at all.
I would pay money to see Phil eat in a beautiful, rich mansion. The type of food they would probably
Yo,
serve is not
Y'all
something
got a
we'd eat.
fork?
Yeah.
Can I just?
Is there a White Castle nearby?
There you go.
Yeah. Look at that. Nice.
Phil
For anyone
wearing
who's
the
just
White
listening,
Castle
Phil's
t-shirt.
wearing a White Castle
I-
t-shirt.
I like Japanese food, and I know how to deal with chopsticks. So I'm sure I was.
Y'all got a fork.
I'm sure I was as refined as I could possibly be
Oh my
while
God.
still being me. So, but it's like, you're at Tokyo Game Show. You're only at, you're at the actual venue for Tokyo Game Show, which is like an hour and a half outside of Tokyo in like
Yeah.
a convention center, or you're in the heart of Tokyo, which is obviously a gigantic, bustling city. But we're just at this dude's house,
Yeah.
and it's in like the middle of like some residential area in Japan. So we're just like, well, we are out of our way. We have no idea where we
out
are.
of our element entirely.
Yeah. We get out in this like Japanese residential area. We walk up these steps to this gigantic house.
Yeah.
They open the door. They let us in. There is like 24 pairs of slippers lined up at the door for us to we take our
Sure.
filthy American shoes off, put on some nice slippers that they clearly just bought for these idiot Westerners to come
Yeah.
in. And they're leading us through this beautiful house.
Yeah.
And we get to and this was 20 years ago, so CJ, correct me if I'm dramatizing this at all, but the way I remember it was, we walk through this kind of large empty room to a giant set of just massive wooden doors that they open up for us, and
I don't
inside
remember
you don't remember
CJ
that?
doesn't remember any of this.
no.
And they open up these doors for us, and inside is just like this giant wooden conference table,
Yeah.
and they lead us in, and there's like one side of the table is just a line of empty chairs for
Uh-huh.
us, and then the other side of the table is like,
Them.
20 Japanese businessmen dressed in very nice suits, and we're all in our, dirty video game
'cause we
t-shirts
had
that
just
LucasArts
been-
gave us.
We
Yeah.
had just been at Tokyo Game Show
Yeah.
all day.
Exactly. So
So
we're
you
all
smelled nice too.
yeah. And they sit us down, and they go
We
around the
start
table.
talking about
Yeah, we go around. And I think we all introduced ourselves. They introduced themselves, and then they start grilling us about what American tastes are like. What do
in video games.
what
asked
do
you
Westerners
guys.
like? in
And the great
games?
thing about it is that everybody love Japanese games. So it's like, why ask us?
Yeah, it's like you are asking the wrong people because
kinda
boy,
asking
oh
the
boy,
wrong people.
just
But
keep
Bernie
doing what
Stoller
you're
was
doing.
there, and when there was a translator, or I think there were several translators there for everything. But it was real weird. And afterwards, when we were riding back, it was like, did that just happen? Did we?
Yeah.
Did that just happen?
Yeah.
Was that a thing that occurred? Because it was Oshima is the only name that I remember from being there, and Nakayama, obviously. I mean,
Yeah.
Bernie.
Well, and it was, and they I remember they gave us all like a gift basket or like a little gift bag afterwards that had like a really nice pen in it.
Yep. And like a cup or something.
Yeah.
A sake cup or something.
I want to say,
great.
Was there like a?
And then Blinks 2 came out, and we were like,
was there a copy of like? I want to say there was a copy of like Dragon Dragoon or some random,
maybe
some random,
possibly.
Japanese.
It was a weird meeting.
It was really weird, but they were super nice. They were super excited to talk to us.
Yeah.
They were extremely generous. And I remember after we'd finished talking to them, they all came over and lined up, and we go down the line, shaking hands and swapping business cards and very formal, very Japanese. And the thing that brought this up was, again, Naoto Oshima was super friendly. He was super, he was
super friendly,
genuinely delighted to be talking to these 22-year-old schlubs. And I remember,
clubs.
I swapped cards with him.
I still have his card.
Oh, I do too. And
I'm saving that.
And the thing was, it was just like, and this is just me being an idiot. At the time when I'm talking to him and I'm, swapping cards and everything, it didn't really click with me who it was.
Oh, I knew who that was. I knew that was
pretty cool.
And well, because then afterwards I was, because like we go down the line.
Oh yeah, that guy created Sonic.
And then I was talking to CJ, and I the way I remember it was I was just like, CJ was like, dude, you know who that is? And I'm like,
created Sonic the Hedgehog, dude.
It's the guy who made Sonic. I'm like, oh shit, really?
I'm a moron.
Oh wow, should I go say something to him? Because I like.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but
it was such a weird.
It was weird.
It's like, how in the world, like, working in video games, you have a lot of strange meetings.
Oh, absolutely.
Like
that's the strangest meeting I think I've ever been in. Though.
I think the strangest one I've ever.
Yeah, it was so weird.
Been into. Right up there with Swery obviously has done a lot of weird games.
Yeah.
But before he was really known for that, our friend Ronnie Yu, who was a PR person, at E3, she was trying to get people in to interview Swery. So I interviewed Swery not knowing anything about.
Oh, really? Wow.
What he was doing, or and the same kind of thing happened for the Persona. So the Persona team, where the PR person came up and was like, we really need we need people to come interview. Persona is not really a known thing in the US. So can you talk to this creator? And it's like, yeah, I did. And I even got some signed artwork from the guy who does the Persona art, which is a big thing now.
Do you still have it?
I think I do somewhere. And then, Persona at the time was not a thing. Megami Tensei was not a thing at all.
Nobody knew what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So this was around the time where I think the very first Persona game came out on PS1.
Right.
When I did that interview.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
No, but the Naoto Oshima in Nakayama's mansion with Bryce Dollar there, it's just like
It's so weird.
That's just at the very top of weirdness.
There's a lot of layers to that one.
a lot of layers.
Oshima did a really
lot of
great Sonic postmortem at
Oh, yeah?
GDC a couple of years back. And I mean, I didn't get to meet him, but what you guys are saying about him being super nice tracks with sort of how he was.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
He
no,
just seemed very happy and
Yeah, no,
fun.
I mean he was genuinely delighted to have a bunch of Americans hanging out talking about what we like in video games.
And honestly, it's things like that, and having played Naka's games before, that makes it so disappointing that Balan Wonderworld is so disappointing.
You
Right?
have the
Feeling
title.
underground.
You have the title on your screen right now, don't you?
I don't have it on my screen, but I've made the error of calling it Wonderland so many times.
Yeah, of course you have. Of course you have.
But it makes it all the more disappointing that it's not good or it's this level of bad.
Oh,
where it's
that's
like
too bad.
really like pro Naka's other development house did some good stuff. Like they did some fun Street Pass games.
They did that
That were
fishing
fun.
game on Street Pass. That's really
The fishing
good.
game. So I was hoping that this
forgot
would
about
be
that.
better. I had high hopes, and then it was
Yeah.
dashed by playing it.
Yeah,
But
it's too bad.
you should try it, Phil, and then tell us.
Oh
what
yeah,
you
well
think.
I mean I downloaded it on the PS5. I got the demo, so
Okay.
I will give it a try.
Okay.
We'll see. Maybe it'll click with me. I don't know. I for the record though, I did not like Billy Hatcher.
Then you're not gonna like this.
Really.
But-
That's too bad.
yeah.
Okay. We'll see.
So now that we've talked about one game and what you've been playing, Greg, it's still you. So
well, I know you've
Technically.
been playing this as well, CJ. Another one that I tried out this week is Cyber Shadow. Cyber Shadow or Cyber Shadows?
Cyber Shadow
Shadow.
singular.
Shadows.
I've been
Shadow,
playing
okay.
this one.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is another. Well, it's an indie game. Actually,
Right.
it's the first game that's being published from another developer that's being
Yacht
published by
Club
Yacht Club
Games.
Games.
Yeah.
Who are the
The
Shovel Knight
Shovel
people?
Knight. Yeah.
It's kind of feels like a Ninja Gaiden on steroids.
It's very much what Shovel Knight does for NES kind of platform,
right.
kind of hop and bop games. Cyber Shadow does for like Ninja Gaiden.
Ninja Gaiden style
Yeah.
run and slash.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I only played it for about an hour and probably an hour. And I like it.
Have you finished the first level?
Yes.
I didn't.
Have you gotten like a little power up orb on your sword, like in the
I've
little
beaten a couple
subscreen?
bosses.
Okay. Well,
So-
there's some mini bosses and stuff as well.
Right. I've been on the map screen 2 or 3 times.
Oh.
Can you? Okay. So then, you can.
Yeah.
You can throw ninja stars now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Can
I
you do a
that.
little like upward flame attack?
No.
Okay. So you've beaten the first level, but not the second.
Okay. There you go.
Okay.
So I've been in probably the most memorable thing near the end of where I stopped was when you turn on that big laser
Mm-hmm.
that keeps shooting into the level and
Oh yeah. You
that's
gotta
kind of
kinda-
where I was when I stopped
Okay.
playing.
Okay.
I love the way it looks.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic, and again, it's kind of the 8-bit aesthetic, but it's on steroids. Like it's doing things that system could never do. Obviously,
Right.
I really like some of the lighting effects and stuff that they're using. You know, when you see the sky in the background and like the lightning,
Right.
and everything, it looks really good. Plays really nice. It's really responsive. It feels sort of like Ninja Gaiden did, where it feels super responsive. You got all the control you want.
Mhm.
For some reason, they decided to emulate the birds in Gaiden, which I don't understand why they would do that. But man, I gotta say the difficulty curve is steep
It's tough.
It's
on
very
that
steep.
game. It starts out very playable, and I'm not saying it's not playable. I shouldn't say playable. That's not fair. It starts out very gentle.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm in the second level, and I was already hitting sections where I was just retrying them over and over and over.
I got
and
to
over again.
one point. I haven't even made it obviously to the world map, so I haven't even gotten a single achievement in the Xbox version, but it's kicking my ass.
Yeah.
Like,
Have you tried getting good?
It was like easy wall.
That's exactly
It's
it.
like,
yes, that is exactly the difficulty curve where it's just going along at a sort of nice steady pace, and then it's just like straight up.
Yeah.
Here's a bunch of flying shit. Here's a bunch of like surfaces you can't stand on because there's steam coming up, so they're not safe. It's like,
I will say that I didn't stop playing it because I was finding it too difficult. I just happened to stop playing it at that point. I'm gonna go back and play it more. The checkpoint system is. I wish it was a little more generous.
That's
to be more generous.
That's my, because I'm loving it. I think it's fantastic. You are absolutely right. It is very tough. It never feels unfair though. That's the thing. I mean, when every time I've died, and I have died a lot, it always feels like I did something wrong.
Well, and thankfully it's very quick. I usually know what I did. Try again.
Yeah, it is. It's quick to reload, but yeah, there are some stretches where
you just like, boy, a checkpoint right here would have been nice.
Yeah, and the way for those who have not played the game, the checkpoints there's like a little kind of terminal that you step on that activates as your that's your checkpoint, and you can. After a little bit, when you get to the checkpoint, CJ may not have even gotten to this point yet. You can power up yourself.
I just unlocked that at the last checkpoint.
Okay. Yeah. You can start. There's a thing that'll like refresh your energy.
Yes.
And you can like give yourself a power up, like something like a power up to your sword or something like that.
Yeah.
But there are a couple of stretches where it really feels like they go too long without one of those checkpoints. And there was one part where there was a boss, like a mini boss that was actually pretty challenging. And then it took a few times for me to beat this mini boss. And then
there was no checkpoint
right afterwards. And then you have to go through actually a pretty challenging bit of platforming before you get to the checkpoint.
I mean, I can see why they're doing it that way, because like, as I was, even for the little bit that I played it, clearly the bits in between checkpoints for the most part are meant to have a certain rhythm to them, like a flow that you're supposed to get into. Right. I found anyway, it's not really a start and stop platformer. You kind of, you're figuring out the best path through the challenge, and you just kind of need to do it. Right.
Yeah.
So I get that, because putting a checkpoint smack dab in the middle of some of those segments would feel weird.
Right.
Again, using that giant laser as an example, I mean, putting a checkpoint where that laser is already firing wouldn't make any sense.
That would be silly
at all. But that being said, I was thinking back to VVVVVV actually, because that game was super difficult in places too. But that checkpoint system was so generous that it never bothered me.
Yeah, well, that's VVV is kind of working on that sort of like Meat Boy philosophy, where it's like, you play that game expecting to die a zillion times.
Cyber Shadow's not that level.
No, absolutely not. No,
not even close,
it's tough. It's very challenging.
Tough. Yeah,
but it's challenging in a Ninja Gaiden way, because Ninja Gaiden is a hard ass game.
Yeah.
And it's hard like that game is.
And the checkpoint system in this is way more generous than Ninja Gaiden.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But well, you know what the real kicker is, I think that adds to the difficulty of it, aside from just the challenging level design and the enemy placement, is you have that Ninja Gaiden knockback, where Ninja Gaiden, playing through Ninja Gaiden on the NES, dying from losing all your energy
wasn't very the way you usually died. Yeah,
it'll happen when you're at a boss. Yeah, but it's not going to happen when you're going through the level. What's going to happen is you're going to get hit by a bird.
Yeah,
and you're going to get knocked back into a pit, which is exactly what happens in this game.
Yeah.
So
It's actually made me want to go back. I need to go back and play more of the Messenger because
I do too, actually.
everyone keeps saying that. I mean, you hear mixed. For the most part, I'm hearing people say they like the Messenger more,
Right.
and that it's and actually somebody in our chat just said that actually.
Oh, really?
Xbox Expansion Pass just said that Messenger is great and more accessible, and that's what I keep hearing is that it's more accessible.
Yeah.
But what I've heard about this is that there's not quite as much backtracking in
okay.
Cyber Shadow, which I don't know if that was a problem in the Messenger, but either way, it makes me want to go back and play that. So, but yeah, I'm digging this, and like I said, I didn't stop because I found it too difficult, but it is difficult.
Oh yeah.
I just happened to stop that night, but you know, it's checking all the right boxes. Otherwise, it looks great, sounds great, it plays really well. The control feels responsive. Like you said, I don't feel like I'm dying because of a problem with the design or because of a problem with the control.
Right.
It's just that I haven't learned the flow through that area yet. And I'm seeing what I'm doing wrong, and then it's a matter of getting it right.
I will say I've had a few instances in Cyber Shadow where like the hitboxes seem a little off or something, because there have been and it's not really led to any problems, but it's weird because it's not even with like dealing with enemies or anything like that. But like sometimes when I'm jumping up onto a platform, like if it looks like, it very clearly looks like I'm hitting the platform, just barely, but I'm hitting the platform, but I'll slip right through it. Like I'll just pass, my body will just pass through a platform. I haven't died at any point because of it. I'll always land on a lower level or something, but it's like you really have to kind of give yourself a bit more clearance.
I wonder if that's a product of the fact that we're playing something that's supposed to sort of invoke the feeling of like a Ninja Gaiden.
Right.
But Ninja Gaiden, where it was on the NES, where it was the tile system was so strict.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you didn't have a lot of options there. Whereas here, even though it's meant to look like something you play on an NES, it's way more high def.
I have no idea. There may be a technical thing, but I will occasionally end up slipping through a platform that visually I very clearly landed on.
Right.
But like I said, it's yet to cause me to die, because it's been occasions where there's ground underneath, but it's a little weird. I also, because the way the game works is as you defeat bosses, you earn new powers. Like Greg and I were just saying, like when you defeat the first boss, you get the ability to throw ninja stars. When you beat the second boss, you learn this attack where you kind of sweep your sword along the ground and it shoots like 3 flames up into the sky. So I'm wondering is this something that's going to unlock later? But boy, I wish this game had a double jump.
It does.
It does?
Yep. There's a double jump.
Does it? It's something that unlocks later? Okay. Because this game feels like it should have one. But
I happened to click on a Game Explain video. They just put up a really short video about Easter eggs.
Okay.
Which I won't go into, because actually, if you find there's one in there in particular I know you'll love if you find it.
Okay.
But he mentions that the only way to do it is when you've gotten the downward thrust and the double jump.
Okay.
Because you have to jump over a pit with 3 enemies that you have to time perfectly.
Oh, and like bounce off their heads or something.
Right. So he mentions that you unlock a double jump.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, because well, not again, because we haven't mentioned this yet, but the way the game is designed is, it's not Metroid style where you're, running back and forth through a giant world. It is linear. Level 1, level 2, level 3, but you can go back to previous levels and use skills to discover more secrets and things like that.
Another thing that's worth mentioning too, when we're talking about the checkpoint system, there's no life system in this game. You can't run out of lives.
Right. Yeah.
That's another major thing.
I know, because I've seen people who have finished the game, and it it's one of those games that gives you the tally of, you died 168 times while you were playing it, that kind of thing. But I'm really loving it. I'm enjoying it. It's also weird you can't duck.
And I've tried to multiple times.
I keep instinctively, like if there's a low enemy on the ground, I'll try and duck and and attack it, or if there's someone shooting at me, I'll try to duck, and you can't do it.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they did not put a duck in there. I mean, it's the game is not designed where you needed to duck.
No, but you keep
even
trying to do it.
Yeah.
At least, I'm the same way. I'm doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's not like
to
they're
duck for some reason.
It's not like they have low to the ground enemies that you can't attack.
Again, I think it's because it's invoking the memory of Ninja Gaiden. Because when I played that, I would duck a lot when I was swinging the sword, just especially when those flying enemies were around.
Yeah, dodging birds and stuff like that. Yeah. And it's like, it seems like such a basic move to have. And when you're making a game that is very clearly trying to invoke the feeling of this very well-known, notable game in the NES library.
And Jeff made the joke in the chat. He wishes it had a goose. That joke was on my lips, and I was like, no, that's too much.
But it's great. The soundtrack's really good too.
Yeah.
It's
there's a lot to like about it for sure.
Yeah. And so it's I picked it up on Switch. It's on Game Pass.
That's how I'm playing it,
of course. So if you have Game Pass, you should absolutely
give it a
check
shot.
it out. I downloaded it on the Xbox as well, but
why wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's great fun. So
so I live down here. So the other game that I've got on my list is kind of a holy grail for me as far as my collection goes. So of course I've been covering the Pioneer Laser Active on Generation 16, which was something sort of I embarked on that journey knowing that you can't emulate the games on that system, and some of the games on that system are some of the most expensive you're going to find. So in particular, there's 3 or 4 that are you find for about $1,000. One of those came up recently. And for we talk about Patreon at the end of every episode, and Phil is always nice enough to throw in the Generation 16 Patreon information after we talk about Player One, and I got a chance to spend some of those dollars on the type of thing that I collect Patreon funds for, which was a copy of what we know as Road Avenger here because of the Sega CD version that came out, but Road Blaster as it was known in Japan. So it's an old Taito, I think it was Taito that made it in the arcade. I could be wrong with that. I think it's Taito that made it in the arcade, but an old Laserdisc, full motion video Laserdisc arcade game.
Yes.
That again came here from Wolf Team and Renovation as Road Avenger. So it's a one of those Simon Says full motion video games. One of my favorites. I think
Road
one
Blaster
of Phil's
is a Data East game.
Data East. Sorry.
Yeah.
I always get them mixed up.
I know I'm on a river.
So there's one of the things that I found interesting about this. So this is you can get so this game came out in the arcade.
Yes.
It was re-released, or it was ported to the Sega CD. One of the things that happened when it was ported to the Sega CD, besides losing all of its color, is the audio was completely changed. That song does not exist in the arcade version.
Well, that song is only on the Sega CD version, from what I understand.
On the Sega CD version. And a couple other things changed too. So in the arcade, when you use turbo in the arcade game actually has a reticle on screen that you control, along with when you're pushing left or right to steer. And when you're supposed to hit turbo in that game, it actually gives you a target that the reticle needs to be on.
Oh,
that didn't come to the Sega CD version. That doesn't happen in the Sega CD version. On the Saturn and PlayStation releases that came out only in Japan, that did exist. That was there. So this version for the Laser Active, which was released here as well as Road Prosecutor, because we needed it under a different name again.
Right.
It's different as well. So it's actually a unique version of this game as well. The audio is a little different. It's not the arcade. It's not the arcade music. It's not the Sega CD music. It is different. There's no reticle on screen when using turbo, and actually the commands are different. There's a lot of braking as you turn. Phil, you might remember this. So in the first level, when you get out to like the yacht club. And you're driving down the wharf. You know how you're chasing a bike and you turn right and then you correct left and you turn left and correct right.
Right.
In the laser active version, when you make the initial turn, it also wants you to brake at the same time.
Oh, okay.
So you have to hit both buttons,
which makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
from the actual like physically how you would be maneuvering a car down a narrow wharf.
Yeah,
like that. Yeah,
if you were a vigilante. But the other thing too that I don't believe even happened in the arcade version is this will uses that age-old technique which we saw all the way back in Dragon's Lair. It'll flip the video.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But it does it at weird times. So at first I thought it was only happening when you die.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you come back and the whole screen will be reversed, but it actually happens during the levels too, which leads to some weird situations where, again, you might remember the spot, Phil, when you're driving along a cliffside at one point and a car in front of you crashes and you have to pull up onto the slope. And then, you see a cutscene of it, and then you turn left, come back down, and turn right to get back on the road. Well, sometimes in this version, you can turn right up onto the slope, and then they'll flip the video. So you actually have to turn right to get back down off the slope.
Oh, really?
It's really weird. So, yeah. But
weird.
And the other nice thing is when you play on easy, no lives. So you just keep restarting from the checkpoint every time you die, which is a nice touch.
Do you know, Greg? I'm just looking up a Road Blaster here. Do you know someone ported some homebrew hacker ported this game to the SNES?
Yes, it did.
That's bizarre.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. I love it.
I mean, there's no reason you can't when memory's not an issue.
Yeah, that's true.
Sure.
So,
man,
cartridge back then, but
I'm gonna watch. I gotta watch some video of that later.
But anyway, I was just gonna throw that out there. And this was so, like I said, this is when I sort of embarked on this laser active journey. This was one of the three sort of the big ones that I knew was gonna be expensive,
right?
But that's that's where the Patreon funds go.
Nice.
So I got a chance to spend it on something.
So there will be a video about this game at some point?
There will be a video about this game at one point. And what I think I'm going to do as well is I might throw it into the schedule for my Twitch channel.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because it's not a version you see very much of.
That's true.
Yeah.
Right? So, and I feel like the audience that watches my Twitch channel would probably appreciate it. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's the longest what I've been playing in a long time. But
I do.
Oh yeah. Phil.
Yeah.
What do you got for us?
Well, I've been playing a lot of Time Gal.
That's the other one.
Yeah.
That's one of the other ones.
Gal.
Yeah. Well, it's you got Time Gal. What's the ninja one?
Revenge of the Ninja.
Revenge of the Ninja is the US name, right? But isn't it called like Ninja Hayate or something like that? Yeah.
That's not on the Laser Active, but Time Gal and Road Avenger are.
Okay. Time Gal's like that's super crazy expensive, right? Yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever get that.
I loved people give the Sega CD so much crap, but man, I loved all those like weird ass like Dragon's Lair knockoffs, but they were anime.
Yeah.
I didn't. It wasn't until the Sega CD came out that I realized that there was a bit of a cottage industry for that in Japan.
Yeah. That's the thing.
Cobra
too.
Command.
Cobra
Good.
Command.
And you know what?
Times.
Perfectly honest with you, those games, Cobra Command, Time Gal, and all that,
They're fun.
That was some of my first exposure to anime.
Yeah.
I mean, really, other than like old Speed
Akira.
Racer, or well, you know what?
I saw Akira before 60, I think.
Oh yeah, I saw Astro Boy.
It's right. It was right around the same time because that was like late high school. So I was probably 90s. I was probably watching Akira, like the half dozen anime movies that were available.
Dirty Pair, Project Echo, Megazone 2-3,
Fist of the North Star,
and Urotsuki Doji.
Vampire Hunter D.
Urotsuki Doji. The Doge.
Legend of the Overfiend.
My roommates and I watched that. Still quote it.
I told
quote it 30 years later.
I think I'm sure I told my story about how I rented that.
Dub.
I rented Legend of the Overfiend without knowing that it was.
Well, that was how it happened, right? Like when we rented it, it was the same thing because it was just anime was such a new thing for us, and my
Yeah.
buddy Jim was so into it, and there was like one place in the city you could rent them, and when he got new tapes, we just went in and rented them. We didn't care what they were.
Of course. No, I remember
It's
going
not like
into, yeah,
so had some friends in college. I only went to college for 1 year, but so we hung out and watched anime a lot.
That's how good you. That's how smart you were.
Right,
I went for multiple years, but I only never completed one of them.
So
how am I the most
this-
educated out of the three of us?
This was about the
weird.
time when video stores started renting anime. So we rented some anime.
Of course.
One of those movies was Grave of the Fireflies, and we threw that on. And
That's
like,
depressing.
let's
sounds-
watch
Some good
some
times.
anime.
Gather round,
Anime.
friends.
What the hell's
Gather around.
happening?
Let's get a pizza. Let's have a
We all
party.
had like these girls
By
we
the
were
way,
trying
Grave
to
of the
impress with
Fireflies
our
is the most
knowledge of
depressing thing you'll
anime,
ever see.
our worldly knowledge of Japanese culture. You know,
Oh no!
watch Grave of the
Oh
Fireflies.
no! Oh no!
Put it
You were
on
trying
first.
to. You were.
And then you're trying not to cry in front of all your buddies.
You had girls over.
Girls over.
You had
Oh
girls
my
over.
God.
Oh yeah, we're gonna put the moves on you, ladies.
This will get
sit
them in
down.
the mood.
Let's watch some Grave of the Fireflies, ladies.
Bad idea.
Man, there's never
It's a
been a
very
greater
sad movie.
panty
It's
moistener
a
than
very
Grave of the
Is that how a girl
Fireflies.
just die?
Sad movie.
Oh boy.
But yeah,
I still have that on DVD. I have Grave of the Fireflies on DVD.
I have. Yeah, I think I have it on. I have it on DVD as well.
I
I bought it. I only have seen it like once or twice because it's
I've
a.
seen it twice.
I've seen it twice. I watched it. I think we rented it. Well, I think it was just me watching. I think I rented it from like Blockbuster back in the day when they had a little. Here's their anime section. This
Yeah.
like 1 foot shelf.
Yeah.
And then I watched it because I got the DVD years later, and I watched it with Dana because she had not seen it. So, and at that point we were just like, yeah, you know what? I think we're done with it.
I think we're done with this movie.
It's wonderful.
See
It's
it
an
once.
amazing. It's a very, very good movie. But you know what? Watching it twice was pushing it because it's a downer.
It's a downer.
The second time I
Downer.
watched it was because I told somebody how like it was the most depressing thing I'd ever seen, and it was anime. And they're like, "Well, I want to see it," so we watched it.
Yeah. There you
That's
go.
about it.
All right.
What
Yeah.
were we talking about? Oh yeah,
it was
right.
Phil's what you've been playing.
Is my what you've been playing?
Right? I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
yes.
that is where we're at.
I played Cyber Shadow, obviously. The only other thing I really played this week was I got a Switch game, a compilation of classic games if you are from Europe, and games that perhaps you might have heard of in passing briefly. If you
In
are
fact,
not in Europe, what's that?
early EGM, so early 90s EGM,
Yeah.
they would have people who were interviewing to get a job there, they would have them play Super Turrican
Oh, really?
because
You told me this before.
it was a really good game, but it was
Spoiler
very
alert.
challenging and nobody had played it.
I got a Turrican collection.
Oh right,
But
yeah,
yes,
I guess
I got
I spoiled it.
Yeah, well, I
hadn't
was. I
mentioned
mean,
the name of the
that's.
game.
I was really building up. Yeah, that was the big.
The reveal. Sorry,
Yeah.
I stepped on that reveal here. I'm just looking at the outline.
Man, Turrican Flashback was
Turrican
released
flashback.
this past week.
So if you want to
Turrican.
pretend like you're interviewing for a job at early 90s EGM, go back and play Super Turrican.
Play
And
Super
Oh God,
there you go.
that game was hard.
Man, that was. Do places still do that?
I hope
Force
not.
force
That's a stupid
interviewees
reason
to
to
sit
hire
down.
somebody.
No. I
Prove-
well,
Prove to me you're good at video games.
I did
You can't
that.
be in our little club
I did that
unless you're good at video games.
with QA tester role interviewees at Adult
Okay.
Swim. I would have them sit down and play Robot Unicorn Attack, and that was when it was
But I mean, that's like
a
you
very
know,
simple game. I just want to see how
it's-
you're going to play this.
But
I don't.
I mean,
you don't have
it's
to be
for
good.
it's specifically for a QA job, though,
That's right. Yeah, that was a QA
That's
job
going to
thing. That
involve
was
them
It's a little different.
playing
That's
Adult
right.
Swim games, and you're making them play this is one of our games,
Yes.
right? I mean,
That's
it's
right.
not like, you just sit down and play Dark Souls. Show me how far you can get in Dark Souls, and then we'll talk.
Right. There
trying to
was one
remember-
person who had said on his letter that he'd played it, and then when I gave it to him, it was very clear he had never played
Oh,
Robot
really?
Unicorn Attack.
What?
And
I mean,
it was like, oh, okay.
I mean, not to sound like I'm talking down on Robot Unicorn Attack, which I loved Robot Unicorn Attack,
It's a fun game,
but it's not
not a
the
terribly
most-
challenging.
Well, I mean, it's a challenging game, but it's not
Yeah.
a challenging concept. It's not like
No.
how
No,
did you
he
just,
died like immediately.
oh, really?
And he had said in his letter that he had clearly just like gone to our website and like listed off a few of the
Oh,
games that were on it.
right, yeah. Yeah.
It's like, nice try, buddy.
Oh, man.
He didn't get the job.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
But what did I got when I was interviewing at EGM for my first job there? I had to play, oh crap, what was that early Japanese PS1 game that was like a Gunstar Heroes ripoff?
I know what game you're talking
Gunner's
about.
Heaven?
Gunner's Heaven, yeah.
Is that the one? Yeah, Gunner's
yeah.
Heaven. Yeah, I remember that was, I think there were a couple games that
They
they
like that.
sat down and made me play, and one of them was Gunner's Heaven.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
but yeah, so Super Turrican is it's Factor 5.
Yes.
Yep.
Factor 5.
Yep.
You may remember Factor 5 from those really good Star Wars games
And
that
Layer.
came out. And Layer.
And Layer.
Oh, Layer, right.
PS3 launch game.
Was that like
that
their last
PS3?
game?
Layer. Yeah. The game that
Oh.
killed Factor 5. Layer.
Oh, what a heartbreak.
It was a cool
But-
concept.
Yeah. But yeah, Factor 5 was a video game developer many years ago. They were German. And oh boy, someone pointed this out on Twitter. Who was it who pointed this out on Twitter? That for as much
Yeah.
crap as I talk about not liking European platformers, German platformers are a-okay by me because I enjoy Turrican and I enjoy Gianna Sisters. And I think Cyber Shadow is German.
Maybe.
I think Cyber Shadow is made by a fellow in Germany. But yeah, it's a run and gun kind of game. It does have that that aspect that I really dislike about European platformers, and I do dislike it here as well, where it's like the level is just this gigantic kind of open space.
Sprawl. Yeah.
Yeah, big sprawl with just platforms everywhere, and you kind of have no idea where you're supposed to go.
Yeah.
So you're kind of, you can just go straight over to the right, but then there'll be like a path that leads down and back around or up way into the sky, and there's a zillion places you can go up in the air as well. So it's just kind of like run around and shoot everything and hope that you eventually find the exit kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's but despite that, it's a fun game. You have tons of different weapons. You have different kind of attacks, like you have like kind of a morph ball kind of Metroid attack that you can use. And it's got amazing music. It's got really, really damn good music by Chris. I'm gonna butcher his name. Hulsbeck.
Sounds close enough.
Yeah. Chris. He did the soundtrack for that. He also did the soundtrack for Gianna Sisters. So he makes really great music.
Prolific.
But yeah, well, there you go. I mean, he's done plenty of game soundtracks. Well,
Sure.
his music is so good though. The Turrican soundtracks are so great. Holy cow. But Yeah, this particular collection has Turrican 1 and 2, which were originally like Amiga titles. And then it has Mega Turrican, which was
Genesis
a
game.
Genesis game, Mega Drive, of course. And then it has Super Turrican, which was the SNES game.
Yeah.
There was a Super Turrican 2 on the SNES, which sadly is not on this collection, which is a shame because that game is, A, it's good. It's quite good. But B, it is also prohibitively expensive and rare to find these days because it came out in like 95, like like it came out after the PlayStation was out. So, nobody bought it. But yeah, they brought out of this collection with these 4 games. It's $30, so it is not not going to break the bank.
Bake the bank.
It's not going to break the break. And I'm very happy to have some Turrican.
Very nice.
So,
yeah,
there you go.
All right.
There you go. That's what I have been playing. I will also point this out. Someone else tweeted at me about there is a company over in Europe. They're kind of like a bootleg limited run games.
Yeah.
Strictly Limited, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Strictly Limited.
They released 2 Turrican collections over there. One of them does have Super Turrican 2, and then like they have like director's cuts and like score attack things or something like that. And it was like, oh geez, you should have bought the Strictly Limited one. But it's like, yeah, that's like, you're buying. You gotta buy 2 games and get it shipped over from Europe, and it ended up just like knocking on $100.
Yeah,
I was like, man, I like Turrican, but
it's a little too much. Even for
I don't know
you.
if I $100 like Turrican.
Yeah.
So, but for $30, I will gladly take 4 Turrican games and have some fun.
Nice.
So there you go. CJ, what have you been playing? This is what we've been waiting for.
Well, I'm glad that you asked, Phil.
Well, I have to. It's in the script.
Been playing some more Hitman 3. I got past the Berlin level in the Hitman 3 set of levels. So that's like a big dance club rave style thing where you're set to kill like 4 different operatives. And the Hitman levels are so much fun because they're like this big open area and you have to kind of puzzle your way through, like find out whose disguise is going to get you into certain areas of this big like open world area. So you can dress up as security guards or like one to get into the facility at the beginning. Like there's this guy in the parking lot who's like, oh dude, I need my allergy medicine and I left it in my bike. Can you find my bike and get my allergy medicine? Like it really sounds that.
Sly, we need my allergy medicine, Sly.
So you find his allergy medicine and then like he brings you to the front of the line to get into the club, and you have to like, you have a gun on you and you have to get pat down to get in. So you like stash it in a trash can and go in. But I mean, the Hitman is such an interesting game in that like I'm not playing the levels in order at all. I'm really just like bouncing around from level to level, but they're all just really fun environments to like puzzle out how you're going to end up killing the 2 or 3 targets that you have. And it's just a super fun series. I think everybody should give it a shot if you haven't. But you guys probably won't, but I think you'd like it. I finished the there's a sort of murder mystery whodunit level, and I finished it without doing the murder mystery at all. I have to go back and do that. But like after you finish each level, it shows you like a couple dozen different ways that you a couple dozen different things that you could do that you didn't do. So you can go back and like, oh, I can get this here and trigger this event and get this person to go here, and it's just like a really interesting interesting game design that I don't think anybody else has really tried. But so while I'm playing it, my daughter walks in and she's like, I want to play. I want to play. So I had her play the tutorial
for the whole
level
family.
Man, just to see how she would do. Because her strategy when I'm playing is kill him, just kill everybody.
Right.
Let's see how she does when she's playing the tutorial level. The tutorial level is it's a recreation of a hit that happened like years ago, and so it's in this like sound stage, but the hit is going to happen on a cruise ship that's made of like plywood. It's not a real cruise ship, and everybody is just everything is, it just doesn't look like a cruise ship at all. It looks like a mock-up of a cruise ship, which is what it's supposed to look like. And she gets to the point where she's supposed to kill the target. And she shoots him in the butt.
Man, kids love Hitman.
She shoots the target in the butt and then runs.
Nice.
Like, you didn't finish the job. You didn't kill him. She shot him in the butt and ran.
Turn around till you're finishing murdering that person.
She's like, where do I shoot?
Father of the Year.
Where do I shoot? Where I'll kill him? I had a moment where I'm like,
you need to shoot them in the heart or the head.
The vital organs.
Yeah.
I gave him a new asshole, Daddy.
The vital organs.
Ripped him a new one.
He ain't gonna know which hole to poop out of these days.
But it was very funny.
Heartwarming.
Yeah, fun for the whole family.
Funny. Yeah, it was funny to watch.
Oh my!
She decided she didn't want to play anymore. After that, it was too stressful for her. She was very stressed while playing it.
But yeah, I mean, making your
Luke Lower says headshots only in this family. Damn right.
Headshots.
A 9-year-old can only murder so many people before.
God.
Well, it's a game where you sneak around and disguise yourself. It's a fun game. It's perfectly fine. We were playing Contra when we were 9. Come on, same thing.
A little different, but
anyway. So I played a little more Hitman 3, and it's a fantastic game. Everybody should play it.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Also played Sea of Thieves, of course.
We already talked about Sea of Thieves. You've already used up your.
No, we didn't talk about it on the show.
Your allotted Sea of Thieves time.
Oh, that wasn't part of the show? Okay.
No, it wasn't. But so they introduced season 1 to Sea of Thieves, and what this basically means is they've added a progression system that gives you progress for doing different actions in the game that you don't actually have to like turn in. You just do them and you get the progression, you get the XP. So prior to this in Sea of Thieves, you had to like collect gold and then turn it in to actually progress. So anybody on the server could come and interrupt you and steal everything that you had and basically wipe that entire play session worth of progression out in one fell swoop. And that turns a lot of people off of Sea of Thieves, or it did. And so the progression system that they've introduced now with season 1, you can get a bunch of rewards, get a bunch of gold without having to like turn it in. You just play the game and you get rewarded. You get XP for doing everything in the game. And it even like gives you little mini goals that you can do or not do as you want. Like you get more XP for doing those things. So if you really want to like level up quickly, you can do that. But basically it's like a 3-month period where you'll get all this progression and get all these rewards before it resets. Very interesting change to the gameplay of Sea of Thieves. And I really like it. I'm really having a lot of fun with it. I'm like level 30 something now in progression. There's 100 levels. So I'm already on the way a couple of days after they launched it. But I'm really having a blast with it. They introduced a new merchant mission where you get a map that's basically just a trade route in the world. So it has the silhouettes of islands and like a line going from one island to the next. And you have to sail that route and find clues for sunken shipments and then retrieve that stuff. So that's in like a new merchant mission that they just added to the game. And it's really quite fun. Gets you a lot of gold too. Yeah. Greg's laughing, and I don't know why.
I just think it's so cute that you're just so.
I
So
played
committed to this.
I played a lot this weekend with your friend Ryan, who is now my friend Ryan, I guess.
Whatever.
And
Suck it, Johnston.
there was I was waiting for Ryan and Mike to be able to play, and so I decided to like troll this Reaper's Bones sloop.
Can I just say that I love that your whole crew is based in Halifax?
I know, right?
Like,
they're all
how does
they're
that
all
even
your
happen?
friends. Yeah. And so I decided to troll this sloop that was just sitting there, and it's a
Got it.
Reaper's Bones. So
What does
the
that
Reaper's
mean?
Bones company, when you fly their flag, you say you want PvP. Like that's your whole reason for being. So didn't feel too bad. So I sailed up to them on a rowboat. I took a rowboat and paddled over, and I got killed. But Ryan logged in just then, and we took our sloop and absolutely destroyed this crew. At which point they started sending us party invites to get us to join their party or whatever. And so we're collecting their treasure out of the water, and one of them brings a mega keg, or one of them that I didn't kill brings a mega keg over from the island, and a mega keg will sink your boat in like one shot. So he climbs our ladder, gets on the boat, and I shoot the keg, and it blows up, blows Ryan and myself off the boat. Technically, we should have sank at that point, but instead, I was able to get on the boat, repair. We were able to get all of their stuff and head to an outpost and cash most of it in, while these guys were still sending us party invites and saying like "good game" or whatever. They were still chasing us down, and they got to us like right as we were cashing the last thing in. It's like, GG's, brothers, got all your stuff.
Sound horrible.
It was
You sound
beautiful.
like horrible people.
It was beautiful. But anyway, that's all I've been playing. So I guess that means it's time for tweets.
Before we do that, I just want to point out to Greg, when while CJ's talking about Sea of Thieves,
Yeah.
I was doing something more interesting. I was reading up more about the
Sure
history
you
of Road Avenger / Road Blaster / Road Prosecutor. And the animation for that done by Toei Animation, under the guidance of Yoshinobu Inano.
I don't know who that is.
Who well, you wouldn't, I wouldn't either. But I have the internet here that tells me not only did he do key animation on Road Avenger, he also did key animation for the Transformers the movie.
Ooh,
Oh my
nice.
goodness.
So there you go.
That must be why I like it so much.
There you go. It's all connected.
It's all going according to Keikaku.
One rich tapestry. Tweedly diddly dee, a tweedly diddly dee, tweet, a tweet, a tweet, tweet.
All right, let's do this one from hacker alias Hamvrag, who says, couldn't more games with DLC have a brief tutorial level available separate from the campaign? Even players that completed the game could use a fast recap after enough time passed. I'm looking at you, Control Complete Edition on PS Plus.
Not
I
wrong.
absolutely agree with this.
Yep.
I mean, don't even like limit it to games that have DLC. Make it something like a standalone tutorial should be in like everything. The fact that Hitman has like that cruise ship like test level thing is perfect for like when you want to go back and play a Hitman level but don't remember everything about the controls. Like you can just hop in there, do that short mission, and be ready to do everything. Like every game should have that. A training or tutorial area where you at least review the basics.
Yeah,
I would be all for it.
Yeah,
I am all for it. Please make that
would
happen.
be nice.
Every game developer listening, please make that happen.
Would be nice.
It would be nice because people take breaks from games and want to go back, and it makes it impossible. It's not just the
Especially when you get
availability of
old
new
and your
DLC.
memory fails you.
Exactly. That's exactly right. All right, let's do this one from hacker alias Beard the Movie, who says, if Landstalker's controls were up moves up, down moves down, and so forth, it would be a better game to play. What other games would be better if the controls were slightly different?
I'm sure lots of them. You know,
I
what would be
think a lot of them
better?
are similar to in the isometric perspective. There are a lot of games that just like do wonky things with controls.
Yeah, because it always you run into a lot of them where it seems like they don't know if they want
Yeah.
up to be mapped to up, or they've decided that some random diagonal is the cardinal direction north. You know what I mean? Like,
the Cubert
Right.
conundrum.
yeah,
Cubert, yeah. In fact, I
Yeah,
think the Cubert sequel that was on Dreamcast and PlayStation 1
Oh,
even
yeah.
like suggested that you tilt the controller like
Yeah, that
a
doesn't.
little bit.
How you doing that? Yeah, hold your PlayStation controller at a 45
this.
degree angle. Yeah, no, that's not.
yeah.
That doesn't work.
I mean, that would make sense
though,
because
it's not.
the original PlayStation controller wasn't all that comfortable to use diagonals on
Right.
Oh, that's
because
true.
of the way the D-pad was
The D-pad
turned
Right.
into the sort of 4 protrusions.
and
Yeah.
the Dreamcast controller as well, really.
Yeah,
But I mean, just about any game worth its salt today has customizable controls, right?
Yeah, or
Right.
several different control types.
Right.
Yeah, That's kind of a standard now. Back in Landstalker's day, that was not the case.
Right.
So I think the reason this is coming up is because I'm playing through Landstalker on my Twitch channel.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I'm getting near the end of it, and
Gotcha.
that game gets pretty tough after a while. That isometric view doesn't help, and then of course nothing in that world casts shadows, which makes jumping puzzles a little bit difficult
Man.
for sure. It's hard to. There's the depth. Is,
Maybe
you know,
the sun is directly overhead the whole game.
could be,
Yeah.
but then at least you would
Possible.
cast a shadow on the platform you're over, but that doesn't even happen. So.
Okay.
One game that I played recently that I would love to see remade, and I know it was remade, but with the original graphics, with dual stick control, be Alien Syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
Alien Syndrome is an overhead shooter that really just cries out to be a dual stick shooter, but it isn't.
Yeah.
So you can only shoot the direction you're moving or facing, and boy,
Right.
does that make that game difficult.
Yeah.
Huh.
I recently watched a video where there was a guy who talked for a little bit about Alien Syndrome.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on some kind of Astro City device.
Yeah.
Sounds like
All
a
right.
good video.
It was Greg's video. Greg's
Greg.
Astro City video.
Greg did
he
that
talks
video.
about that. Yeah.
Link in the show notes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's finish up with this one from hacker alias Cindy A. Croft, who says,
That's
I
Cindy Crawford.
I stayed
That's
away
Cindy
from
Crawford. That's famous supermodel.
Right. I stayed away from RTS games because there's just too much going on, but I missed out on some good tactics games over the years because I saw strategy and thought they were the same thing. Is there a genre or game type that you enjoy now but overlooked in the past? I would say maybe not overlooked, but I play a lot more of now is Mario Party. Like
Oh, really?
I played Mario Party games in the past, but it was never like my go-to. And usually once a week we bust out Mario
really?
Party for the
Wow.
Switch,
Wow.
and play. And I'm sure they'll make another one of those for Switch at some point, right?
Oh, I'm sure.
But-
I'm sure they will.
We have basically gone through all of the content that is
Wow.
in Super Mario Party.
Dang.
Played every mini game that could possibly come up, and
Jeez.
yeah, it's so I didn't necessarily overlook those in the past, but I appreciate those types of mini game collection / sort of family party games a lot more nowadays.
Hockey games.
Yeah.
You're still overlooking those? Is what
No.
you're talking about?
I've always kind of been, I'm not a sports game guy, but yeah, I've been playing a lot of hockey games lately. The latest
okay.
NHL.
But then there's NHL
I'm really
Rewind.
trying to
You can
figure out where you're
download
going
that.
with this, but
You can download that on EA Play as part
That's
of your Game
awesome,
Pass
by the way.
subscription.
I'm not.
And play
I'm not
NHL
actually-
94
I'm not actually playing hockey games.
with current
okay.
rosters.
with current
That's great.
rosters.
Oh,
Which
that's
is
neat,
cool.
though.
So,
That's
such
neat,
a cool
though.
offering.
That is neat. That is neat, though.
If they did that with the basketball game, I might do it.
This is not recent, but I certainly overlooked kind of RPGs back in the day. Like I had no interest in early RPGs, like the Final Fantasy or Dragon Warrior back in the day, Dragon Quest, of course. It wasn't until the 16-bit era when I finally decided to give RPGs a try and ended up really enjoying them.
It was a good time for RPGs.
The do you know? I'm sure I've told this on this show sometime in the past 14 years, but do you know the first RPG I ever played?
Final Fantasy 2.
Because Greg, you will go back on your statement of it was a good time for RPGs. It was Phantasy Star 3.
Oh,
Generations of Doom.
You know what?
History. Yeah, go ahead.
History has not been kind to that game.
No.
But you know what?
What's
that game is not terrible.
Well, I loved it.
Yeah, and me too. And I'm one of the people who will crap all over it because it's not nearly as good as Phantasy Star 4 or 1 or even 2. 2's a good game. It's just too grindy.
Right.
But Phantasy Star 3, looking back on it, it's a great concept.
Oh yeah.
And it was the first Genesis RPG I ever played.
Oh,
because
really?
I was late to the Genesis, and Phantasy Star 3 was kind of the current one.
Right.
I loved it.
So did I.
I played through all the storylines.
Yeah.
And looking back on it, I think the biggest problem it has going for it is that the concept was too big for what the cartridge was.
Yeah, I could see that.
And it was so rushed.
Yeah.
It's clear the game was rushed.
Because
the backgrounds and the enemy designs and the animations are god awful in that game.
Right.
So,
but yeah, I mean, I can obviously recognize that it is not a terrific game, but I have fond memories of it because it was the first RPG I ever played, and I had a blast with it. I liked it so much, I went through and saw all the endings.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had multiple save files going because for those who have not played it, you had to be
smart about it to do it properly.
Oh yeah, you absolutely did.
Yeah.
The gimmick of that game is that you're playing through the game as the main character, and at some point in the game you
choose to
get married somebody. And there are two ladies. I mean, it's just like real life. You have men have their adventure.
We've all been there.
And then when you reach the end of your adventure, you have to choose between two women. Which one will you marry? Just like real life. And then you choose the one, and then the other one just disappears. And then you have a child, and then the adventure continues with the child, and then the child has the same thing. The child has his adventure and two women, and which one will you choose? But it goes through 3 generations.
Yeah, so you got 4 different endings.
Yes.
And 7 different quests total.
Something
like that. If you count
something like that.
One.
But
and 3 save files.
yeah. So you have to. There's some finagling there, but I did actually go through somewhere. It probably still exists somewhere at my parents' house. I had a videotape. I had recorded all the endings.
And the nice thing was that the one thing that Phantasy Star 3 really had going for it over 2 was that it wasn't nearly as grindy.
Right.
And I had forgotten about that until I actually covered it for Generation 16 because and Lauren Helgeson in the chat is actually saying there was only 2 save files.
Okay.
And because I wanted to show a fair amount of the different quests, I was just blasting through it, and it didn't take that long to finish. But again, it's because the concept was too big for the amount of memory they had. I feel the game could have been a lot longer, and it wouldn't have felt like it was dragging because of the fact that you were constantly playing as different groups of people.
Right.
But history hasn't been kind to it. And the problem is it belongs to a series that's got 3 other much better games in it.
Of course.
So,
but
anyway.
That was
and
you know what? Like the Zelda series, I slept on for a long time.
Really?
Like I
never played the first one until much later.
I had no interest in Zelda or Zelda 2 on the NES. For as much as I loved the NES, neither of those games really piqued my interest, and it wasn't until Link to the Past when something finally clicked and I was like, "Ooh, this game looks like it's fun." And then
Link to the Past
Link to the
definitely
Past.
drew me in.
Yeah.
But I liked Zelda 2 as well. So
Really?
weird, I guess. But
Yeah.
for me, the question, going back to the original question from Cindy, for
Mhm.
me, it's kind of the reverse. I can think of a lot of genres that I've fallen off of.
Oh yeah.
Because I was really into fighting games, as
Right.
most of us were in the mid 90s.
Of course, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
kind of had
For
to.
me, RPGs.
Yeah, that's just it.
RPGs, same thing.
RPGs.
Yeah. And actually talking about strategy RPGs, because I was crazy into Shining Force.
Yeah.
But then I never got into any other strategy RPG series at all. I've played the Fire Emblems, I've played the Final Fantasy Tactics, and pretty much at that point it was like, you know what? This is clearly not for me. Something about Shining Force I loved, never worked for me after that. So
yeah.
And I mean, the me not playing RPGs has nothing to do with me suddenly losing interest in it. It's just I don't have 80 hours to devote to a single game.
Well, I'm not,
these
for
days.
me,
I'm not willing to.
That's part of it for
Yeah.
me, but the other part is that a lot of modern RPGs have systems that are so complicated, you can't easily take a break from them and come back and pick it up and be successful. Like, as we were just talking about with the last question about tutorials, like oftentimes RPGs don't have those. And some modern RPGs like the Dragon Quest series is good with this, like Dragon Quest 11S especially does this, where you can customize a lot of things. And one of those things is like, if you're in a town, like the next person you need to talk to, their icon on the map is pink with a question mark. Like, so you always know, like, okay, you can basically like turn on helpers that will help you like find the next thing, or like talk to your party members and they will tell you, go to this person next.
You would see every now and then games that would actually give you a bit of a, here's what happened over the last hour. Like summary when you turned on the game.
Yes,
right?
Games that do that. And there are quite a few now that do that in very popular series. That helps a ton. Because you were on your way to this point.
Right.
Thank you, game, for telling me that.
Oh, right.
Did you guys just kind of going into Cindy's specific example? Did you guys ever get into RTS games?
No. I tried.
No, I tried, but I sucked at them.
Oh, really?
And and then of course, because RTS games also, for a while there, they became the only way anyone that I knew that played them was versus.
Oh, okay.
I was never good enough to play versus.
Right.
No.
So
I went through a bit of a phase on the PC back in the day. Like I really got into Warcraft and Warcraft 2 and
Command and Conquer games were really good from everything I've heard.
See, I never got into Command and Conquer for whatever reason. I don't know if it was just the kind of real world military theme just didn't click with me or whatever. Because
it's funny because the stories that the videos that I've seen of the story modes, story segments in that game, seems like they'd be right up your alley.
Oh yeah, I mean it's total. Like, isn't like Tim Curry in one of them?
Curry is one of them,
so it's like I was missing out.
Yeah,
but yeah, I was really into like the first StarCraft, But again, kind of like to your point, I never played multiplayer. It was always just going through the single player campaign.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I knew I wasn't good enough to play that competitively, even a little bit.
You're not MLG material.
No, I am not.
But I mean, back then I would pretty much try anything, and it didn't hurt that. I mean, back then, renting a new game every weekend was what me and my friends did. So we tried everything. And then when I got into my teens, I ended up working at rental stores. So same thing, right? Like we were retail and rental. So if something was on the shelf at the end of the night, we could take it home and, for the evening and try it out. So especially there was a year that I spent in Charlottetown, PEI, where I was managing a store like that. And me and the other guy who worked there, we just take all the new releases. If they didn't get rented that night, we just take them home and play them. So we played everything. So yeah, it definitely worked the other direction for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that it? I think that's it. Ran a long show.
I feel like that was a good episode.
That was a really good episode.
Did we do a good episode for once?
I think
It
we
happens,
did
once every 200 or so.
every now and again.
Not bad.
Alrighty, and that is our show for this week. Thank you very much for listening. If you have a question for us or would like to comment on something you heard, you can direct that to @P1 Podcast on the Twitters. Or you can go to our internet website at player1podcast.com. There you'll find our contact information. You'll find blog entries about Sega CD stuff from Mr. Greg Seward.
I just started working on a new one today.
Excellent. You'll find Generation 16 episodes as well.
Yep, and the new one is coming along very nicely. I captured a bunch of footage on that this week. I've finished up the research for this episode, grabbed some of the reference footage that I want. So yeah, it's really moving along now.
Very cool. And you'll find show notes and links to all the things that we talked about during this episode. You will also find a link to our Discord server where you can discuss this episode with us and our other listeners.
If you would like to subscribe to the Player One Podcast, you can do so by visiting player1podcast.com or by loading up your favorite podcast listening app. We're on Stitcher Radio. We're on Spotify. You can like us on Facebook. You can watch video archives of our show or watch us live most weeks on the youtubes.com/P1 Podcast.
Yeah.
If you've liked what you've heard, and how could you can head over to patreon.com/P1 Podcast. Throw a few shekels our way because CJ
Needs to pay for all the therapy his daughter's going to need for all the Hitman she played when she was eight.
There you go. There it is, folks.
There it is.
Help out this poor man's family. My goodness.
What's wrong with you?
What?
My
It's a fun video game.
Oh boy.
Oh God.
Oh my goodness.
My daughter plays worse things on Roblox.
Probably. You don't know because you're not monitoring it. So
You don't know.
I mean, she's playing Among Us where you cut people in half.
Yeah, but those are little.
It's a little
cartoon
different.
blobs. That's
a little different.
I'm kidding.
A little.
I know.
A little
I
different.
know.
Oh my goodness. But no, friends, your Patreon dollars do, of course, help support our show, keeps the zooming, lets us keep broadcasting, all those little costs that come with a podcast. It helps keep the show running. And of course, if you are a Patreon friend of the $5 tier,
cheap.
there it is.
Wow, I must
You
be
gain
really
access
lagged.
to a
You're lagging or
weekly-
something.
Yeah.
Who's
You're
is
lagging,
Greg
Phil.
lagging? I'm lagging, Phil. Okay, well, I'm lagging. Let's see what happens here. You gain access to a weekly bonus episode where we play games through Crackwise, do all the fun. Look at this guy moving me along. CJ's getting.
When your
CJ's
internet's
lagging.
lagging,
Warming
you
up the
don't have to also
orchestra.
make the outro lag.
Jeez, fellas. I'm just trying to have a good time here. I just thought we'd, no, that's fine. It's cool. Get it together, man. Don't let them get to you. Okay. We play games. We crack wise. We do all the fun things we can't do on the regular show. CJ, do we have a game this week?
We sure do. It's another Game Fan review game.
Oh,
Just for
boy.
you.
Oh man.
Just for us. This is us reading old Game Fan reviews, trying to guess the name of the game without any, using just contextual clues from the review text.
If there are
Please
any.
look forward
Yeah.
to us. Yeah, that's a big
Always a
if.
crapshoot.
Yeah. So join us for that,
There's some
please.
gems in this one, let me tell you.
Oh, good. I can't wait. Cannot wait. If you have a couple bucks left over, head over to generation-16.com where you'll find the Patreon link to help spare Greg. Let me see if I can get that name right. Greg Stewart's outstanding, and it is outstanding. web series about North America's favorite runner-up, the Sega Genesis.
Thank you very much, Phil. And yeah, like I've mentioned before, if you are a donor of the $5 persuasion,
Also cheap.
you get access to weekly video logs where I talk about the sort of thing I was just going over, talking about the research that I'm doing for the episode, sort of the state of the episode every week, and also going over things like the reference books that I have in my library and the state of the game room that I'm building and lots of other cool little things here and there that people seem to like. So please consider it. And remember that you're only charged per episode, not per month
episode.
on
What a
that.
deal. What a deal.
What a deal.
Is that the best deal on Patreon?
A deal at twice the price. Well, yeah, considering I put out like 3 episodes a year, it's not bad.
It might very well be. Yeah, so please head over and enjoy some of that. That's it. Oh, CJ, you want to plug plug
Oh,
plug
yeah.
your
Very
new
huggable this week.
site?
Sure.
Go ahead.
I do a website, secondplayer.net. There's also a Twitter account, secondplayernet. And
Minus the dot.
minus the dot.
Yes.
And the focus is finding awesome video game podcasts and videos and highlighting them, putting the spotlight on those from independent creators and sometimes pros as well. This past week did one on a Metroid podcast called Omega Metroid. Yes, there is a Metroid series only podcast.
Oh, they just talk about just Metroids.
They just talk about Metroid. Yeah. This week
Okay.
they talked about the Lego Ideas set that is up for voting.
Right.
Did one, I think a listener to the show actually sent me a video about how to beat Zelda 2 without frustration that I found very
That's not
interesting.
possible.
Yeah. There's a
Absolutely
podcast,
possible.
Digital Doc Games. This is a medical doctor talking about video games and health. He did an interview with the developers of a game called Before I Forget, about where you're the main character has early onset dementia, which is very interesting. So yeah, a lot of cool videos and podcasts out there. I'm trying to spotlight and hopefully, get some of these shows some more listeners. So they're doing great things. So yeah,
Nice. That's very cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, check out secondplayer.net, friendos.
please do.
That's it, CJ. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil.
You're very welcome. Gregory,
Yo.
thank you as well.
Thank you, Philip.
Oh, of course. Always happy to help you out, Greg.
Aw.
Yeah. And of course, thank you to our wonderful listeners, every single one of you. Please take care of yourselves, your friends, your loved ones, your family. Keep wearing the mask, my friends. We're not
That's right.
out of the woods yet. And we'll talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.